Rec Room is a very popular VR game, and this is something I've wanted to talk about for a long time now, but I haven't been able to because if I did talk about it, I would have gotten permanently banned from Rec Room at the time I wanted to make this video. But since I've obviously been banned from Rec Room permanently, and I cannot come back to Rec Room, I feel like now would be a good time to make this video, considering the fact that nothing can really be done, like now, because of the fact, I'm banned and all that. But there's a side of Rec Room that no one talks about, ranging from pedophile rings to hacking groups. And I feel like not enough people talk about it, so that's why in this video I'm going to be talking about it. So, if you've played Rec Room, you've probably heard of the name Harry Manlegs. But for those of you who don't know who he is, or have never really heard of him before, I'm going to be explaining who he is. Harry Manlegs is a member of the community team, which is essentially the faces of Rec Room, with people like Marissa, Emily Waffles, Corbins, and then on top of the whole community team, it's Harry Manlegs. Now, Harry Manlegs is one of, if not the most popular Rec Room content creators on YouTube. And something that he's known for is appealing to a childlike audience and stuff like that. Because, that's the face of Rec Room as well. That's the community of Rec Room. Primarily a childlike audience. And that's the audience he appeals to the most. Kids. Considering the fact that he can grab their attention easily by acting childish. And a lot of people have tried calling him a pedophile for it. But I wouldn't say it's necessarily pedophilia. You can argue that it is kind of weird that he is appealing to kids as his main audience, but, I wouldn't say it's necessarily pedophilia in any way, shape, or form. But the people that gave him criticism for a lot of the things he's done have ended up getting cease and desist notices. People that range to as young as 13 years old, just making videos talking about Harry Manlegs and trying to expose him and stuff like that. They've gotten cease and desists. And Smoksik, who tried to expose Harry Manlegs, actually got his channel terminated. But more about Smoksik later. Now, this is a pretty popular topic in the Rec Room community. Now, the Rec Room black market, if you don't understand what that means, well, it's basically like the real-life black market. It's essentially people selling illegal items, or in this case, people selling items that violate the Rec Room Code of Conduct, and distributing it to people for in-game currency, like tokens, or cosmetic items like clothing or food, or sometimes they even sell it for real-life money. Now, you're probably wondering, what kind of things do violate the Rec Room Code of Conduct or the Rec Room Terms of Service? Well, it can be a lot of things. And the main things that do sell for the most in Rec Room are player-made sex toys, hentai, pornographic imagery, and the most profitable thing on the Rec Room black market, which I'm very sad to say this, because it's mostly for and by the pedophiles on Rec Room, holotars of underage girls moaning is the most widespread thing in the Rec Room black market, and it is the most profitable thing on the Rec Room black market. Now, if you haven't played Rec Room before, you probably are asking, what is a holotar? Well, in a short answer, a holotar is an invention in Rec Room where you can record, I believe, about 60 seconds or 30 seconds or something along those lines of your avatar and your audio from your microphone and save it onto an invention, and people use it for a lot of things. A lot of people use it to promote maps. A lot of people use it as a tutorial guide. And sadly, a lot of people use it for pedophilic reasons, to get underage people moaning and selling it to people, sadly. And it is a very sad thing that, it's easy for pedophiles to get practically child porn, and it's distributed this way. And now, since we're on the topic of pedophilia, I'm going to use that to get into our next segment of the video. Now, yes, this is a very true thing that not a lot of people talk about. The pedophiles on Rec Room. Now, and the pedophile rings on top of it all as well. I mean, it's very sad that Rec Room, such a good game, has so many flaws. One of the biggest flaws being pedophilia. Now, with Rec Room, a lot of the pedophiles get exposed pretty fast, but there are a lot of them that slip through, the cracks and go hidden for a long time and never get exposed until long after they're gone. But a lot of the pedophiles that have gotten exposed in the past, like Luxurious Adam, Benjamin Osborne, Doctor Doom, Dream Ninja, and etc., they have all gotten exposed and shunned by the entire Rec Room community, most of them being banned. But then there are the pedophile rings, which are a lot harder to take down considering, most of the pedophile rings have a couple hundred people involved, including minors. Now, if you're wondering, how do pedophile rings even start? Well, they get disguised as, just fine groups that are just private, A lot of them being disguised as a little group. And if you don't know what a little is a person that acts childish like a toddler or a baby or a really young child for both safe for work purposes and not safe for work purposes. And a lot of these pedophile rings and pedophile groups disguise the group as a little, clubhouse type of thing, when in reality it's a pedophile ring, ran for and made for pedophiles. Now, if you're asking, well, how is there proof? Most of the groups that say that it's for littles are ran by people in their mid to late 20s, sometimes even mid to late 30s, and the people that are quote-unquote littles are between the ages of 12 to 15 years old, being underage. And if you're asking, oh, how does it make this pedophilia? Well, the minors get manipulated by these grown men, and they end up trading nudes with each other, which is a felony, which can be about 8 years in prison, if I'm correct. Maybe a little less, maybe a little more, depending on, the state they're in or the country they're in and whatnot. And if you're asking, well, is there proof of this happening with all these groups? Yes, there is. 9 out of 10 times a group is made for quote-unquote littles, it is actually for pedophiles and by pedophiles, which I think is fucking disgusting. And the fact that nobody talks about it just fucking sickens me. I just find it fucking horrible that these people are allowed to coexist amongst the rest of Rec Room and all that without getting little to any criticism at all. I just think that needs to be talked about a little more, and I find it fucking disgusting. Now, this is probably the most known issue that Rec Room has. Its report system and its ban appeal system. Now, with the report system, I'm going to explain this in a very simplified manner. Rec Room's report system is for 1, what you get reported for, 2, how many people report you, and that's really it. Now, let's say a group of 5 people in a party in Rec Room wanted to get some random person banned for little to no reason at all. They could all party up, go to a rec center, target someone they didn't like for any reason, and just report them for something, and they would probably get banned for it. And now, a lot of people who don't play Rec Room or don't get banned or anything like that, or don't know how the report system works, will always say, oh, that's untrue, and stuff like that. And then there are the people that are aware of this and still defend Rec Room, even though, Rec Room, hasn't fixed the issue, and this has been an issue for years. And people always say, oh, they're trying their best, when in reality, that's not true at all. They are not doing their best, and they could do so much better if they fixed this report system and unbanned people who have been banned for false reasons. But sadly, this is unlikely to ever happen, and I really, really hate that. Now, moving on to the ban appeal system. Now, with the ban appeal system, it's not as bad, but I still disagree with it. With the ban appeal system, It's managed mainly by a bot, and unless you submit a file attachment, that's when it will get checked by an actual person. And then, on top of it, if you're a popular Rec Room player who is popular in the YouTube community, popular in the Discord community, Instagram community, etc., or if you have a really popular map and you have a lot of subscribers on Rec Room, and when I say a lot, I mean probably more than 5K or 10K subscribers on Rec Room, you'll most likely, 9 times out of 10, get unbanned depending on what the ban is. That's how Rec Room is. They have a huge double standard for people with popularity on their platform, and I just disagree with it strongly. This is another sad thing that Rec Room had an issue with. It's not as bad as it used to be, but it's slowly making a comeback. Now, as you can see, this category or segment is titled Rec Room Pornhub. And that's because people used to do erotic role plays in Rec Room and post it onto Pornhub. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Pornhub's new policy, essentially what happened was they deleted a lot of videos that were posted by unverified accounts and deleted a big majority of the unverified accounts to prevent children or people under the age of 18 from making accounts and posting videos. Now, when I say posting videos, I don't mean like homemade videos, but videos that they found and reposted onto Pornhub. Now, the reason why Rec Room did this was to prevent lawsuits, and possible criminal investigations, etc. But before that terms of service, like addition was added, there used to be people who posted a Rec Room porn onto Pornhub, and a lot of those videos, involving children, sadly. And it was just sad that this happened, because, it was most likely saved by a lot of pedophiles, right? And there are some of the videos that were on Rec Room Pornhub that got re-uploaded to other platforms. I'm not going to be linking these videos for several reasons, and I do not support this in any way, shape, or form because it enables pedophilia in the Rec Room community. And I am just ashamed that people have actually done this. It's really, really depressing, in my opinion. Now we're on to the hacker groups of Rec Room. The hacker groups aren't active anymore, like group-wise. There are definitely still Rec Room hackers and stuff like that. But here's what these groups have in common, because they all do different things, but here's what they all have in common. They glitch the game, they give them ourselves tokens in the millions and stuff like that, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, give or take. They all give themselves tokens for free, which is bannable. Hacking the game is bannable. They all increase the ink in their rooms so they can add more stuff to their room. They, get people's personal information and stuff like that, and a whole bunch of other things. Now, this doesn't happen as often as it used to, and I'm only touching the tip of the Rec Room hacker group iceberg here. But the reason why I'm only talking about it briefly is because I don't know much about it, and no one really does. I mean, the fact I've heard about these things is kind of crazy to me, and the fact that there is proof of these things happening, in Rec Room and all that. But yeah, I don't know much about the hacker groups. There's a lot more people that know more about it than I do. But they definitely did exist at one point. They don't exist as often now. But yeah, that's it for hacker groups. Anyways, that's going to be it for today's video. I want to apologize for my upload schedule being all out of proportion. I don't think I'll be able to fix that anytime soon. but maybe I will. I'm not sure. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit the like button. And I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everyone. A lot of you probably already seen this coming, but it is necessary to talk about for the sake of this video. For those of you who don't know, Smoksik basically tried to expose hairy man legs. He tried to expose a few other people. He was responsible for a raid that happened in the Rec Room Discord server, and a bunch of other things. Now, I was good friends with Smoksik for a little bit. This is an actual thing. Back on my Sedate Sloth 266 account, I was good friends with Smoksik for a little bit. I talked to him a lot. Me and him were good friends, you know? But here's the thing with Smoksik. He always tried to act like he had more power than what he actually had. He was essentially paper trying to be a brick wall. And when a lot of force was added to that paper trying to be a brick wall, it collapsed, resulting in him being banned, his YouTube account being terminated, and him losing all the popularity he had, and him getting exposed. Now, something that a lot of people don't know about Smoksik, he acts very childish. Me and him and a friend of his were at a Daisy PvP themed map, and he was just on the mic on the top of the tower, and with the microphone, if you don't know, everybody in the map can hear you when you're talking into it. If you're new to Rec Room and you didn't know that, that's what that does. And he went up there for about 10 minutes just saying the N-word with a hard R, like a 12-year-old on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 back in, like, 2009 or something, you know? It's like, what's the joke there? Oh, he said the funny N-word, everyone laugh, you know, and shit like that. And when you killed him in PvP, if he didn't know who you were, he would just start calling you racial slurs, homophobic slurs, and shit like that. And just being an overall dick, you know, and shit like that. Smoksik also sold people underage girls moaning on the holotars, sold people hentai and shit like that, and a whole bunch of other shit. Smoksik was not as good of a person as he wanted you to believe. He had an inflated ego. He was very, very manipulative. And he tried using people all the time for his own personal gain. And I just think it's crazy that I knew a guy who almost killed off Rec Room entirely, and I was good friends with him for a little bit. Because was he a shitty person? Yes, he was. But he helped me get a little bit of information about certain people, and he was a funny guy at certain times, but a lot of his humor was just him